Ooh, you good boy. So Thor is with me. I wanted to put this out in the last video. Completely forgot, had the video edited, was rendering, and was like, oh crap, I forgot to make this announcement, but Thor wanted to be here for this one. So we're going to throw it in at the top of this video. And that is that Thor is now a big brother. Though it's only going to be a few months before he's a big little brother, because this new puppy is going to be much bigger than him. But my girlfriend's family, her brother and sister, their one dog, had puppies right around my birthday, so we went ahead and adopted one of them. We picked out a name. Didn't want anything confusing like Thor again. I named this guy Thor, and then the Marvel movies got big. So I'm a big Robert E. Howard fan. I wanted something literary. Conan was the first choice, but we play a lot of Conan Exiles. I was like, that's going to get confusing. Always kind of like the Kull stories more, but I don't really like the name Kull, so we went with Solomon after Solomon Kane. Kind of a long name for a dog, but he seems pretty smart, so I think it's a worthy name. Goes good with Thor, huh? Got some good pictures of the little guy. So cute, and the puppy's adorable too. Anyway, so that's our big news. It's gonna be a big dog. Can't wait to get him and Thor out camping with me. We're gonna put him to work. Maybe we can pull a little leg in with some supplies on it. Anyway, so today we are talking about light gun games. I used to love light gun games back in the day, and everybody had Duck Hunt, Clay Shooter, and all that. I used to remember playing like Hogan's Alley and Wild Gunman at my neighbor's house. But the best place to do light gun games, I think that PS2 era is where they were really kind of peaked and where they shined, and the arcades had a lot of them. And so I'm going to tell you about 3 of my favorites. They're the ones I have the most memories for, and oddly enough, they're all from my time in Okinawa. So we're getting things kicked off. Me and Sean would go to this arcade in the Okinawan American Village. That was a place, and a lot of the guys would go off base and go there, and we never figured out really why. But we would go there to the arcade. There was a big Sega Land arcade, and they had a lot of games there. I remember seeing like Typing of the Dead there and stuff like that. But the one we would always go to was Vampire Night. Now, it's not the greatest light gun game, but it was a ton of fun. It was right up our alley, the type of stuff we like to play. And I remember playing this, and Sean making a comment to me once, and he says, I think it's great that our characters in the game look more like vampires than the vampires do. And admittedly, the way we were dressing at the time, we looked more like vampires than the way the vampires in the game did. To be completely honest, that hasn't really changed much for me. I'm just a little bit more elegant about it these days. But still, it turns out that was funny that Sean said that because, and spoiler alert, turns out your characters are half vampire. Big surprise. But that was a lot of fun. Playing these 2 half vampire characters, same with the little girl from the vampires going through the castle. That one was ported to the PS2. I had that on the PS2 for a while, but flat screen TVs don't work with light guns. It's a shame because again, the PS2 era had a lot of really good light gun games, and crap like Endgame. That was awful. Okay, so in second place, again, it's kind of the same vein. House of the Dead 3. House of the Dead 1, 2, and 3 were all great, but 3 is the one I really liked. Oh, and I had that big shotgun that she used to play that. And there was the one base we used to go to in Okinawa had a copy, and me and Sean would play that one. But it was set up a little bit differently than the one at Game in Naha, which was this casino right outside Camp Kinzer, Okinawa, which is where I was stationed. So I used to go to Game in Naha on Friday nights and play the arcades. It was great. The first floor was like an arcade, and the second floor was the main casino. And I used to go there and play the arcade. But I remember playing a lot of Puzzle Bobble they had there, and then a ton of House of the Dead 3 was one of my go-tos. And like I said, it was set up a little bit differently at the base. It was just very linear, and there were only so many levels. And this one, it was set up that you could, at the end of every stage, you'd pick a level. There'd be 2 or 3 choices to pick from that would determine how the game went out. And it was just so much fun, but the part that always gave me trouble was that giant sloth. Just had these attacks that were designed to just hit you and just suck your quarters, or in this case, my 100 yen pieces. But I remember going there one night, I must have taken about $50, and I'm like, I am beating House of the Dead 3 tonight. It cost me about $30. And 2/3 of that had to have been fighting that damn giant sloth. money well spent. Don't regret it. So yeah, House of the Dead 3 was freaking fantastic. Love that game. So the third game, believe it or not, also kind of comes into this. We fought vampires, we fought zombies and other creatures. We're going to continue fighting zombies, but this is a game you may not have heard of. And this is another one that me and Sean used to go play. They had this at many arcades on Kokosai Street, but there was one that had a copy of this game. And this game came in 2-player format and 4-player formats, and this arcade had the 4-player one, but it was called World Combat. It was this title, the 4-player unit had like the 2 massive screens on it, like you would have seen with like X-Men or back in the day or something like that. The light guns were these huge assault rifles. There'd be 4 of them lined up, and me and Sean would always go and play. And World Combat was awesome because it was like a World War II shooter, but instead of Nazis, you were fighting an army of like zombies. It was awesome. You had that World War II aesthetic, but you were fighting zombies. It was freaking awesome. We used to play. We'd always get in there. We'd get like just 2 random people like, "Hey man, get on World Combat with us." Oh, okay, we're paying, you know. We'd do that, but then one day we're like, we're going to be smart asses. We're like, Sean goes, we should each take one of these big assault rifles. I'm like, sure, let's do it. So we put all the money in the game. We each get one, these huge guns in each hand, and we learned real quick, much like real life, you can't do that because we couldn't aim the things. It was so much fun though. That is a game we never played, and I've never seen it anywhere else. I guess it's never really been big anywhere else. I heard it's pretty big in Europe and Asia, but not so much over here. But World Combat was awesome, easily the best of the 3. Like this is my first choice and my second choice. It's not like a list like that. It's just 3 light gun games I absolutely loved. But if I had to pick one as the best, World Combat, hands down. It was just so much fun. So those are my picks, and I'm throwing it out there. What are your favorite light gun games? Let me and Thor know.